Oh man.
Paul Thurrott. Jesus Christ. What the?
No one will ever understand. No one will ever
No
understand.
one will. Anyways, Paul Thurrott, if we went
Yes.
back to about 2008 and we just
Okay.
deleted 2009 through about 2021 as of yesterday, apparently,
Yeah.
um, the Microsoft landscape wouldn't look all that different because during that time, Windows 8 was launched, destroyed things. Now we're kind of sort of back to like not a Windows 7 like world, I would call it, right? People like Windows, they like what's coming. They don't move my cheese
That's
sort
fair.
of thing. Xbox was a big deal inside of Microsoft back then. It had a position on the senior leadership team back then.
That's yeah. Okay. Yep.
And Windows also had a position on the senior leadership team. Now, time went by. We're just going to ignore mobile because I don't think that changed too much. Time went
Yeah.
by. Xbox got kicked out. Windows got kicked out. And
Is
now,
Xbox? So wait, Phil Spencer's no longer on the
no,
SLT. Is that true?
he
Oh.
what they removed. Xbox was not on the
Oh.
senior
Okay.
leadership
I
team
got
for
it.
a bit,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and now it is.
Okay.
And then yesterday it was announced that Panos Panay got a promotion. He's now the chief. I don't know if he was the chief product officer or still is, but he's now on the senior leadership team, which means that Windows is back on the
Right.
SLT, which
So yeah,
circle of life.
I Windows is the reason he's there.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
a
for
little
sure.
weird that this didn't happen sooner,
Yes.
right? I mean, he's been leading Windows for about a year and a half, probably, maybe
Has it
longer.
been that long?
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
I
think it was last spring, wasn't
I
it?
think early, maybe February,
Yeah,
something
something like
like
that.
that.
Yeah, February.
Um, I mean, I'm going to look this up. So I just started writing the article about this topic, and my first paragraph has this. I'm mostly curious why this took so long. It makes sense for the person running Windows to be on the SLT. After Terry Myerson was right.
Mm-hmm.
After Terry left, there there was no leader of the Windows group
Right.
really. There was a guy who was in charge of a bunch of stuff throughout Microsoft 365, and I don't believe he was ever on the SLT. And I
Was it
definitely remember
Rajesh,
writing
I believe?
something. Yeah,
Raj-
Rajesh. I don't remember his last name,
Yeah.
but I remember writing something at the time about how that really kind of shows you how far Windows has fallen perception-wise within Microsoft, right? That was crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever anyone thinks of Panos Panay, he's very divisive. I mean, some people love him, some people can't stand him, and whatever. I think he certainly has strengths and he certainly has weaknesses, but whatever. I feel very strongly that the person in charge of Windows needs to be on the SLT. He needs to have the ear of the CEO. So it's him.
Yeah.
So whatever. Again, like I said, like whatever you think of that, whatever. But yeah, this is a return to normalcy, and I got to say, background, this kind of bugs me. Like one of the things about Windows, like Microsoft will say this in their when they speak about Windows 11 as if it was invented out of whole cloth all of a sudden because the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic happened and we were shown again how important PCs were, and it's like, guys, come on.
Right.
This
Go look at
this
your
was
balance sheet.
this was an $8+ billion business per quarter, every quarter forever. Like
Yep.
that's insanity. But same thing. I don't really care how they rationalize it or how they publicize it. It's
Mm-hmm.
important to me that they invest in Windows, and I love what they're doing with Windows 11, even though there are
Yeah.
things to niggle about, of course.
Yep.
And same thing with the SLT thing for Panay. Whatever you think of the guy, like I said, whatever, it is very important that the person in charge of Windows be there. And these are both positive developments, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. I mean, right? That's.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. To your point, I fully agree. It is crazy that how much money it brought in, and they're like, this
Just
thing
ignored it. Yeah. No, I don't know that there's a product that influential, that successful, that has ever suffered this way internally at a company. There are lots of examples of, the famous one in the tech industry is that in the late 1980s, the Apple IIe and the 2C, 2 line, whatever it was called,
Mm-hmm.
that those products floated that company while the Macintosh failed. It failed for several years. And now the Mac survives. The 2 went nowhere. The 2 could have become a Mac-like system. In fact, if it did, it would have been a lot like DOS and Windows when you think about it. They did a 2GS kind of half-hearted thing, but they purposely hobbled that. But the money in those days would have been in the millions,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even single or double digit millions, low millions. And the numbers we're talking about today are single and double digit billions per quarter.
Yeah.
It is astonishing to me the way that Microsoft has ignored Windows over the years, and I'm happy that that appears to be changing. It may be temporary. We should enjoy this while it lasts,
Mm-hmm.
but it's good for the product. And it's good for everyone who cares about it and uses it.
I mean, if you think about it now, Panos just kind of runs the more personal computing business line. I know it's not perfect, but like a sizable chunk of that revenue is his division.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, look, what's weirder when you think about it? The guy who ran Windows Phone, Terry Myerson, was elevated to become be put in charge of Windows, which at the time, and today is a huge business and super important. That's crazy. Or the guy in charge of Surface, an even tinier business that has not always been super successful, has been put in charge of Windows and now is on the SLT. Like, which of those is weirder? This is like the old days. It would be like the guy who worked in the mailroom at Hewlett Packard, rose through the ranks and then, he didn't do this, but started Google or something, like became like a tech superstar or whatever. Like it's interesting to watch people who came from nowhere. And I don't mean that to be a jerk, but I mean, these small, unsuccessful businesses, frankly, and then put in charge of very important product lines. And then, people obviously see something in them, real or imagined, I guess we'll see. And they're there, those are incredible stories.
Windows 11 was like the test, right? They said,
yeah,
go do a Windows 11, whatever it is. And if people like it, then you're going to, be promoted. If not,
they can't have been looking at the known issues list. Am I right?
Well,
anybody? No. That's a bit. Yes. No, I like like I said, I like Windows 11 and that certainly helps a lot. Windows 8, I remember it was like, all right, this is going to be a carnival fun ride. We're just going to go with it. I mean, it was so stupid, and it's probably stupider than people remember. Steven Sinofsky forced the Tiles start menu interface on server. I mean, people kind of forget this, but they pushed it on server. Like, so it got stupid. And today I have to say, Windows is in a much better place. And that's true whether you're looking at Windows 10 or Windows 11. I mean, I think they're both, the same product really, right? I mean, they're both mature and they work well and whatever. So,
yep.
There he is.
Yeah. Other things that were announced yesterday, they officially said Halo December 8th. They announced the first limited edition console, which will come out November 15th, but the game doesn't come out until December 8th.
What do you think about that? They get a digital download, and that says to me you're going to get this console and not have the game for 3 weeks. Is that
pretty much? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's also I believe the first customized or limited edition, whatever you want to call it, right. Elite Series 2 controller, which I'm still a little disappointed about because they didn't put the share button on there, which means it's still using the.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's literally just the Series 2, just with.
Oh my God! How do you do that?
New paint.
At least it's $200.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the DLI stuff that comes with the new controller, that dynamic latency interface.
It's got my ready question mark. Check what time is it? 9:14. Yeah, we're on. Perfect.
So that is approximately 16 minutes after.
I am ready, Brad. Thank you for asking.
Maybe we can start recording this podcast.
I didn't even notice the share button thing. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Now people are going to look at it and be like, but there's a button in the middle. But what that's for is to change the controller profiles.
Right.
You can
it's
set
something that was already on the Elite controller. Yeah. Okay.
So,
that is, man, they had an extra year for this. Do you think this thing was just sitting around?
So I was about to ask you that. I was wondering, like, did these consoles already exist and they've just been sitting, like, or did they? There's a very real possibility that in February they said, okay, we're going to make some limited edition consoles for the fall. There's a very real possibility. I also think there's a possibility they thought about potentially launching with this stuff, because remember, the game was supposed to launch, and why would you launch a limited edition console a year after?
If you're going to launch the console day and date with the new Halo game, you're not going to use the new controller design a year ago? This makes it even weirder that it's a year in.
Yeah. Well, that's only the Elite, though. The one that comes with is the new one, but
that's crazy.
It is weird. It's something is a little like just
that's very strange.
Yep. Anyways, it'll be a little strange tomorrow because tomorrow's Friday.
Thank God. It's been the longest week of my life.